The Galactic Council Hall sits under a dome of black crystal, bending the light into strange reflections. Thousands of alien eyes glow across the room. Gold, red, blue, slit-pupiled, multi-layered. Their voices hum like a storm behind glass, their pride filling the air like smoke. And in the center of all this, under a single cold spotlight, stands one human. Commander Jace Roran. No guards, no escort, no fleet behind him. Just a man with steady shoulders and eyes that look too calm for this room. Every alien leader sits taller, sharper, prouder. To them, today is a victory. They believe they have cornered humanity at last. They believe Earth is weak. They believe one human standing here alone proves it. Jace listens quietly as the accusations fly at him like arrows. A Revic general points his bone-armored finger and spits the words, "Humans attacked first." A cold metallic species plays a recording of a burned outpost and says, "Your colonies are expanding in forbidden zones." A long-necked diplomat narrows its glowing eyes and adds, "Earth is behaving like a wild creature. It must be controlled." Jace does not move. Not one muscle twitches. He stands like a soldier carved from stone. When the room finally falls silent, he speaks, low, even almost gentle. "Earth defended itself. After months of raids. After our civilians were taken. After your fleets crossed our borders again and again." His voice echoes without force, without shouting, without begging. But it carries. It carries like thunder that hides inside clouds waiting to break loose. The alien leaders laugh. Not because it's funny, but because they think they have already won. One species smacks its claws together in amusement. Another flicks its tail to show boredom. A councilwoman with 6 shimmering eyes leans forward and says, "Humans are fragile animals. You cannot win against united empires." A soft ripple of cruel laughter moves across the hall. Jace doesn't laugh back. He simply watches them. His breathing slows. His expression empties of warmth. Something deep and ancient inside him wakes up. Something humans try very hard not to show. Then the Varkan warlord steps forward. The floor shakes under his armored weight. He is twice the size of Jace, built like a walking fortress, muscles wrapped in dark metal plates, claws sharper than any blade. His voice rattles the floor. "Human," the warlord growls. "Your kind should kneel before speaking. You should lower your eyes. You should remember your place." Jace keeps his chin raised. This angers the warlord even more. He pulls out a red treaty, thick, heavy, sealed with blood markings. The agreement that protected Earth for 80 years. He holds it up for the whole chamber. Then, slowly, painfully, he crushes it under one armored fist. The sound echoes like bones breaking. Shreds fall to the ground. The warlord says the words every species has been waiting to hear. "We want war." Silence floods the hall. Real silence. The kind that feels alive. The kind that makes even powerful creatures forget how to breathe. Jace's heartbeat slows. His hands stay loose at his sides. His eyes harden, not with anger, but with something sharper. Something colder. Something dangerous. He looks around the hall, taking in every alien face. Every smirk. Every arrogant sneer. Every eye that sees humanity as prey. He studies the weapons hidden under robes. The blades kept behind thrones. The cannons waiting outside the dome. He sees them all. And then something changes in him. Something small, invisible, but powerful enough to shift the air. He breathes in once. He breathes out once. Then he says a single quiet sentence, so quiet some species don't even hear it at first. "You want war." His voice is calm, steady, unshaken. Then see your worlds reduced to cinders. The effect is instant. The temperature of the room drops. A cold wave sweeps across the hall. Every alien stops moving. The laughter dies like a candle under water. The Varkan warlord's claws freeze midair. A few diplomats whisper translations to those who don't understand human language, and those who hear it tremble. Humans never say such words lightly. Humans do not threaten unless the threat is real. Something ancient, something buried deep in galactic memory, rises again. Something the elders once warned. Never awaken the human instinct for total war. The council's monitors glitch. Several species' hearts spike. A distant alarm echoes outside the hall, reacting to a sudden surge in unknown energy signatures. Jace does not raise his voice. He does not shout. He simply stands there with the calmness of a man who already knows what comes next. A man who did not come to beg for peace, but to give one final chance before the storm begins. The Varkan warlord steps back, not because he wants to, but because something inside his instincts warns him this human is not afraid. This human is not bluffing. This human is a door to a darkness the galaxy thought was long gone. All across the hall, aliens exchange anxious looks. They do not understand why a single human would speak like this. They do not understand how he can stand alone without fear. They do not understand why their sensors detect a sudden shadow outside the dome. Massive, silent, unregistered. Jace lifts his eyes slightly, as if he already knows what they are sensing. He speaks again, slower, colder, unforgiving. Earth did not choose this path. You forced it. And now you will face what comes when you corner humanity. A council captain whispers, "This is madness." Another species whispers back, "No, this is a warning." Another whispers, trembling, "This is a promise." And still Jace stands alone, unmoving, heart steady like a war drum. The hall that once mocked him now feels smaller. The aliens who once laughed now feel something they have not felt toward humans in centuries. Fear. Real fear. The kind that tastes metallic in the mouth. The kind that makes claws retract and spines curl. The kind that whispers deep inside their bones, "You pushed too far." Before anyone can respond, the lights flicker. The ceiling hums. A faint tremor moves under the floor, soft but unmistakable. A shadow passes over the dome outside, large enough to block a star. And in that trembling silence, every species in the chamber realizes one unshakable truth. Humanity is not standing alone. Earth woke up, and the galaxy is about to burn. The shadow outside the dome lingers like a giant holding its breath. No species in the council hall can identify it. Sensors freeze. Energy scanners flicker. A few of the technicians try to recalibrate systems, but the readings keep returning the same impossible result. Unknown mass, unknown signature, unknown origin. The aliens exchange looks that carry fear they don't want to admit. Power shifts in the room like a silent earthquake. But Jace Roran, the single human surrounded by thousands of enemies, does not shift his weight. His posture stays straight, his eyes steady. He watches them with calmness that feels unnatural in the heat of panic. The first voice breaks the tension. A crystalline diplomat stands up, its body glowing in nervous pulses. What is that outside?" it asks, its voice trembling through vibrating plates. No one answers. No one wants to. The Varkan warlord, who only moments ago looked unstoppable, now scans the ceiling with his burning orange eyes. His claws flex, but this time not with pride, this time with instinctive fear. Something greater than him is here. Something that does not belong to any species present. Jace watches them silently, his expression unreadable. To the aliens, his calm looks like arrogance. But deep inside, it is something else. Controlled rage wrapped in discipline. Then the council explodes into movement. A Revic general slams its staff on the ground. "Security! Scan the dome." A three-headed envoy demands, "Is this a human attack?" A desert species hisses to its guards, "Prepare evacuation tunnels." A wealthy empire leader whispers, "Why didn't our sensors detect this earlier?" Fear spreads through the hall like wildfire running over dry leaves. Jace remains still. A tall alien with silver branches for arms steps forward, its voice shaking. "Human, what did you bring here?" Jace's reply is soft, almost tender, but his words slice the air like a blade. "Nothing you can see. Nothing you can understand." The aliens freeze. The silver-armed envoy takes one fearful step back. The council chair rises from its floating throne. Its ancient wings unfurl slowly, feathers shimmering with cosmic energy. "Commander Roran," it says, "you speak as if you have an invisible fleet surrounding us. Jace lifts his chin. If we had brought a fleet, you wouldn't be asking questions. You'd be kneeling. The hall turns silent again. Thick, heavy, suffocating. The council chair's feathers dim. In the back rows, two species exchange desperate whispers. Humans don't lie during war. Humans don't bluff. Humans warn once, only once. And their warning was clear. Meanwhile, the floor vibrates again, soft but unmistakable. Something outside the dome moves quietly, too quietly for something that size. A Zalaran admiral pulls out a datapad, reading the shaking sensor report. His voice cracks. Whatever is outside is bigger than our dreadnoughts, and it is not sending any threat signals. That means, another alien gasps. It is not here to negotiate. Chaos breaks loose even faster now. Prepare shields. Call the home fleets. Close the space gates. Jam the frequencies. Lock the human down. No, don't provoke him. Fear turns the mighty council into a room full of frightened children. Their arrogance melts. Their confidence disappears. Their political pride collapses under something primal, the instinct to survive. And through all of this, Jace does not move. One alien, smaller than the rest, a young diplomat, stares at him with wide, trembling eyes. How are you so calm? It whispers. Jace finally looks at him, not with hatred, not with anger, but with a strange sadness, like someone who already knows the ending of a story no one else has read. Because, Jace says softly, the moment he crushed that treaty, the galaxy changed. You demanded war. Now war is here. The young alien shivers deeply, its scales glowing dim in fear. Then the council chair roars. Human, you dare threaten the Great Alliance. Jace answers without emotion. You threatened Earth first. You destroyed our colonies. You stole our civilians. You laughed when we asked for peace. He takes one slow step forward. The hall trembles with him, not because of power, but because of certainty. His voice becomes cold as midnight space. At first, humanity only defended itself. Now, humanity responds. Before anyone can argue, alarms explode across the council hall. Warning, external object approaching. Warning, defensive grid malfunction. Warning, sensor blindness detected. Screens flicker, holograms glitch. Every alien looks upward. The shadow outside expands. And then they see it. Not clearly, not fully, only a shape. A monstrous, silent outline behind the dome. Bigger than the entire station. Moving like a ghost in the void. A wave of terror passes through the hall like a cold wind. The Varkan warlord grips his weapon harder. But now his hands shake. What is that? He whispers. Jace's eyes soften with a deep, human sadness. Not pity, just the weight of knowing something they don't. It is not a threat, he says quietly. It is a reminder. Of what? Someone cries. Jace breathes once, steady and slow. That humanity is not as small as you think. The hall freezes. Behind him, the shadow stops moving. The lights steady. The alarms stop. A cruel silence wraps the chamber like a cloak. The council chair finally asks, voice low, Commander Roran, how many of these shadows does Earth have? Jace does not answer immediately. He looks at every alien face. The proud, the cruel, the mocking, the frightened. Then he simply says, enough. The single word crushes the remaining arrogance in the hall. No shouts remain. No laughter. No mockery. Only silence. Only fear. And only one truth spreading through the minds of every species present. Humanity did not come to beg for mercy. Humanity came to show what happens when the galaxy chooses war. The shadow outside the dome does not move anymore. It simply waits, silent, patient, heavy like a storm cloud holding lightning. Every alien inside the council chamber feels its presence pressing against their skin, crawling down their spine, whispering danger into their bones. Even the bravest species lower their heads, unsure if they should breathe too loudly. Commander Jace Roran stands alone in the center of the hall. his posture steady, his eyes sharp. He does not look proud. He does not look angry. He looks like a man who has already counted every outcome and accepted the darkest one. Across the galaxy, whispers spread faster than light. Messages, alerts, rumors, all saying the same thing. A human weapon, once lost, has returned. But no one knows its name. No one remembers its shape. No one understands where it came from. And that ignorance terrifies them more than the shadow itself. Inside the council hall, the aliens try to calm themselves. A crystalline envoy murmurs, "We have no record of this mess. No blueprint. No empire claims ownership." A desert species with golden horns shakes its head. "No one can build something that size without our spies noticing." A cybernetic species taps its metal skull. "This is impossible. Humans cannot hide such a monster." Jace finally speaks. Quiet, gentle, as if explaining something to children who have no idea they are playing next to a volcano. "Your spies looked in the wrong places." That single sentence sends another wave of fear across the hall. The Varkan warlord steps forward, trying to regain the pride he lost moments ago. His booming voice shakes the ceiling. "You think this frightens us, human? You think your shadow will make us kneel?" But his hands betray him. They tremble. Jace lifts his eyes slowly to meet the warlord's. No hatred, no anger, just a heavy sadness. "You should remember history, not the history you wrote. The real one." A cold silence falls. Across the chamber, old alien elders exchange glances. They know something. Their wrinkles tense. Their hearts race. They whisper to each other in forgotten languages. One ancient counselor finally stands. Her breathing is slow, her eyes clouded with age and fear. "Commander Roran, tell us the truth. Is this project still alive?" Jace's gaze lowers to the floor. He hesitates, not because he fears them, but because the truth itself hurts him. Then he nods once. Soft, final. A nod that changes the fate of galaxies. Gasps spread like wildfire. "Project Cinderfall." The elder whispers, her voice cracking. "The humans. They brought it back." Every species shudders. The name is older than most empires. Older than half the civilizations in the room. A name pulled out of the ashes of ancient war. Cinderfall. The weapon humanity swore never to use again. A weapon built not for conquering planets, but for erasing war itself. Not with explosions. Not with lasers. With something far worse. A wave that melts armies and fleets into silent dust. Not death. Not destruction. Something colder. Something empty. Cinders. The council chair grips the edge of its throne. Impossible. Cinderfall was destroyed. Burned. Banned. Jace finally looks up. For the first time, a thin layer of emotion flickers in his eyes. Pain. Buried deep. "It was sealed," he says. "Not destroyed. Sealed. Because humanity didn't want to become what you forced us to become today." No species in the hall speaks. No one breathes. The meaning of his words hits them like a meteor. Cinderfall was humanity's last resort. And today, they activated it. The Varkan warlord snarls, his pride demanding one last fight. "Show us proof. Show us this human nightmare." Jace steps forward, just one step, but it feels like the ground shakes under his boots. "You already saw the first sign." "What sign?" an alien cries. Jace lowers his voice until it feels like a cold whisper sliding into every heart. "Yesterday, in the Varkan sector, a star collapsed. The warlord freezes. It was a natural event," he argues, but even his own voice sounds weak. Jace shakes his head. "No, it was Cinderfall." A roar of disbelief fills the chamber. "That's impossible. Cinderfall cannot destroy stars. Humans are lying. No weapon can do this." Jace's next words crush their denial. "It did not destroy the star. It removed the reactors orbiting it. All of them. In one moment. No battle. No fight. No survivors." The warlord steps back as if struck. His empire had 17 military stations around that star. 17 heavily fortified bases, all reduced to silent, cold ash in space. Without warning, without explosion, without resistance. A young alien engineer suddenly collapses onto her knees. This is not a weapon. This is a judgment. Jace closes his eyes. There is real pain there, deep and human. Humanity never wanted to use it. We prayed no one would ever push us far enough to open the vault again. The elder counselor whispers, voice trembling. But someone did. Every species slowly turns toward the Varkan warlord. He feels the weight of thousands of eyes. He feels the silence. He feels the ancient terror crawling up his spine. For the first time in his life, the great warlord takes a step back. Jace opens his eyes again. They are colder now. Harder. Not angry, just resigned. He looks at the entire chamber and says, "You think we came here to threaten you? We didn't. We came here to give you one last chance." The council chair swallows. A chance? For what? To stop. Jace's voice cracks with exhaustion and old sorrow. To stop before the next star falls. The entire hall shakes. Not physically, emotionally, spiritually, because every alien realizes the truth. The shadow outside is not the weapon. It is only the warning. The weapon is already in motion, already awake, already judging. Jace stands completely still, letting the fear settle, letting the truth sink into their bones, letting them understand what comes next. Behind him, the shadow outside the dome glows faintly, like an eye opening, like a god stretching, like the beginning of something unstoppable. And the galaxy finally realizes, humanity was the only species that hoped for peace. And now, humanity is the only species capable of ending everything. The council hall feels colder than vacuum. No one moves. No one speaks. Every alien stares at the human standing in the center, Commander Jace Roran, like he is the thin doorway between survival and extinction. The shadow outside the dome still lingers, silent and monstrous, as if waiting for a command. Across the galaxy, hidden transmitters activate. Emergency signals launch. Fleets scramble. Empires prepare for war. But every commander, every soldier, every emperor feels the same cold fear crawling through their bones. If that shadow is real, then what else have humans been hiding? The answer arrives sooner than anyone expects. A deep vibration ripples through the council floor. Soft, slow, steady. Not an attack. Not a strike. Something older. Something purposeful. A hologram bursts alive in the center of the room. It is not human-made. It is not from the council. It is a galaxy-wide emergency beacon. The voice is raw, panicked, breaking. "This is Station Arvun Prime. We were under attack." Static swallows the words. Then an image appears. A Varkan moon. A fortified, heavily armed moon. Millions of soldiers. Thousands of cannons. A stronghold that has never fallen. Now it is dust. Not destroyed. Not exploded. Not shattered. Reduced to gray, drifting ash. Floating quietly in space like the remains of a burnt dream. Gasps explode through the hall. "That's impossible. No weapon can." It melted the entire surface. There are no bodies, no structures, nothing left. The warlord grips the nearest railing. His claws dent the metal. His heart stumbles. His empire's pride, its strongest fortress, gone. Without a war. Without a warning. Without one human ship firing a single cannon. And then the screen flashes again. A small object falls through space, no bigger than a shuttle. No engines. No radiation. Just a glowing sphere drifting toward the moon's remains. A soft hum. A faint pulse. Then the moon becomes ash. The aliens stare at each other in horror. That was it? That tiny object? No blast. No energy wave? No casualties? No warships? Jace steps closer to the hologram. "That is humanity responding," he says softly, "to your declaration of war." The great Varkan warlord tries to roar, but his voice cracks into pieces. "You destroyed an entire moon. Millions of my warriors, without warning. Jace turns toward him. Slow, steady, expression cold as falling snow. You declared war without cause. His words cut like steel. You raided our colonies. You stole our civilians. You tortured our explorers. You demanded we kneel. He points at the floating gray ash. This is kneeling. Silence rips through the hall. No one dares interrupt him. Jace's voice grows heavier. Old pain buried beneath discipline. Earth begged for peace. You answered with blood. So humanity answers now. The enemies tremble. Because his voice doesn't sound angry. It sounds disappointed. And disappointment is far more terrifying than rage. The hologram suddenly shifts again, this time to a large enemy fleet. Dozens of cruisers. Hundreds of fighters. A formation built to destroy planets. They fire at the approaching human object, lasers, missiles, antimatter charges. Every shot collides. Every shot hits. Every shot fails. The object continues drifting, unaffected, indifferent. A quiet hum, a soft pulse. Then the entire fleet turns into drifting dust. No screams, no flame, only silence. The council chamber erupts into pure shock. How? No technology can. This is impossible. Humans cannot build this. This cannot be real. Jace turns away from the hologram. When you pushed us to war, his eyes rise, dark and empty. You awakened Cinderfall. A cybernetic species slams its metallic hands against its console. Human, why respond with such cruelty? Why not negotiate? Jace turns slowly toward him. His voice drops to a whisper that freezes every heart. Because you did not come to negotiate. You came to kill us. One heroine envoy bursts out. But this is revenge. This is genocide. Jace stops walking, and his silence makes the whole hall lean forward. Then slowly he speaks. Revenge would be killing your civilians. The hall shakes. This, his voice becomes almost sorrowful, is restraint. No one breathes, because it's true. The moon was military. The fleet was military. The casualties were soldiers. Not a single civilian targeted. A species with 3 hearts whispers, this is not war. This is a message. Jace nods. Yes, a message. What message? Someone croaks. Jace meets every fearful eye in the room. That we will end your ability to wage war. But not your lives. The council trembles. Because this is worse than death. This is humiliation. This is the collapse of power. The erasing of armies. The end of empires. Without killing the innocent. When the galaxy finally gathers the courage to speak, the council chair asks in a weak voice, Human, what will you do next? Jace's answer is quiet, gentle, devastating. We will take your weapons, and leave you only peace. The warlords stiffen, the leaders shiver, the strongest species lower their eyes, because for the first time, they realize humanity's retaliation is not fueled by revenge. It is fueled by control, by discipline, by a promise to end war itself. Behind Jace, the shadow outside the dome glows again. Faint, cold, powerful, as if listening, the first retaliation has begun. And the galaxy finally understands. Humans do not destroy to conquer. Humans destroy to protect. And nothing is more terrifying. The council hall feels smaller now, as if the walls are quietly leaning inward. The shadow outside the dome remains motionless, yet its presence presses on every mind like a silent warning. The air tastes of fear, metal, and something else, something ancient waking from humanity's past. The moon of the Varkan Empire lies in drifting ash. Their war fleet has vanished without a scream, and the galaxy finally understands. The retaliation has only begun. Commander Jace Roran stands alone, hands behind his back, shoulders steady, breathing calm. Too calm for a man whose species just erased an empire's strongest fortress. His calmness terrifies them more than the weapon itself. A trembling envoy finally breaks the silence. Human, what do you want? Jace's eyes rise slowly, dark and controlled. A future without war. Those words strike the room like lightning. A reptilian general slams his tail. You expect empires to surrender? You expect warriors to bow? You expect ancient cultures to abandon honor? Jace steps forward, only one step, but every species flinches as if a predator moved. I expect, he says softly, that you stop attacking us. The simplicity of his demand stuns them. So small, so fair, so terrifying. The Varkan warlord forces his trembling voice into volume. We will never surrender to humans. Jace turns to him fully now. His face is empty of emotion, but his voice carries the weight of 1 billion human souls. You misunderstand me. I am not asking you to surrender. The warlord snarls. Then what? Jace lifts his hand slightly. The hologram in the chamber shifts instantly, revealing a map of enemy worlds, Varkan planets, heroine colonies, Revik strongholds, Zalaran shipyards, all glowing with small red dots. What are those? An alien whispers. Jace answers without blinking. Everything that can wage war. Every factory. Every battleship dock. Every weapon vault. A desert species stumbles backward. You mapped all of us? Jace nods once. For years. While you judged us. While you mocked us. While you broke treaties. The council chair's wings tremble. And if we refuse your demands? Jace's next words are not loud, but they are final. Then Cinderfall will erase your weapons from existence. Gasps explode like sparks hitting dry bark. One species shakes violently. You mean, you will wipe out our armies? Jace nods. Yes. Destroy our fleets? Yes. Reduce our war factories to dust? Yes. The youngest alien in the room chokes out a question that trembles with innocence. But what about us? The people? The civilians? Jace turns to him with a softness no one expects. For a moment, the weight inside his eyes lightens. Just a flicker, but enough to remind the hall that humans carry empathy deeper than most species understand. You will live, Jace says. You will keep your homes. You will keep your families. You will keep your skies. He draws a slow breath. But you will never again have the power to start a war. The hall shakes with stunned silence. A heroine leader snarls. You want to cage us? Jace shakes his head. No. I want to keep the galaxy alive. The cybernetic envoy clicks its metal fingers nervously. Why should we believe you won't go farther? Why should we trust humanity with such power? Jace gives a tired, human exhale. Because we had this power centuries ago, and we locked it away instead of using it. That truth hits them harder than any weapon. Humans didn't want war. Humans didn't want power. Humans wanted peace. Until peace was taken from them. The council chair finally steadies itself enough to speak. Human commander, state your terms. Jace lifts his head as if delivering a funeral sentence. All hostile fleets will stand down immediately. All borders attacks will stop. All human prisoners must be returned. All war plans against Earth must be erased. And every empire that attacked us will dismantle their weapon foundries. Outrage erupts instantly. This is madness. You cannot demand disarmament. You insult our ancestors. You want to strip our pride. Jace lets them shout. Let them scream. Let them cling to arrogance one last time. When they fall silent, he lifts one finger. The hologram switches again. This time, an entire star system appears. Not a human system. An enemy one. A massive defense ring. 3 shipyards. Millions of soldiers. They watch as a small, drifting sphere enters the system. One hum. One pulse. One silent wave. And everything. Every ship. Every weapon. Every fortress. Turns to falling, colorless dust. No screams. No light. Only silence. Then the system map turns gray. The entire hall goes cold. One alien collapses to the floor. Another starts shaking uncontrollably. Another hides its face with trembling hands. The Varkan warlord's voice breaks. You monster! Jace lowers his eyes. Humanity begged for peace, he whispers. You answered with blood. He lifts his head again. eyes burning with old sorrow. Now you beg for survival. The entire hall falls silent. The shadow outside the dome shifts just a fraction, just a hint, but enough to remind them all. This is only the warning. The weapon has not yet been fully unleashed. The galaxy is running out of chances. Jace speaks the final line of his ultimatum. You have one choice left, peace or cinders. A tremor runs through every species. Because every soul understands, humanity is no longer asking. Humanity is deciding. The galaxy holds its breath. The council hall stands frozen like a painting, every alien locked in silent terror, every heartbeat loud enough to echo in their skulls. Jace Roran stands at the center, quiet, steady, almost sorrowful, as if the weight of the entire universe rests on his shoulders. The ultimatum he delivered still hangs in the air like smoke from a burning world. Outside the dome, the shadow finally moves, slowly, silently, purposefully. A ripple of fear spreads across the chamber. The dome's black crystal trembles as something incomprehensibly massive drifts into clear view. The lights dim without command. Holograms flicker. Breathing becomes difficult. The Revik general gasps. By the stars! What vessel is that? But it is no vessel. No fleet. No ship class ever recorded. It is a moving fortress. A world engine from humanity's forgotten past. Dark metal stretching for miles. Layered hulls pulsing with deep golden veins like the heartbeat of a sleeping titan. It does not roar. It does not flash weapons. It simply exists, and its existence alone crushes the pride of every empire in the room. A cybernetic species scans it desperately, sparks flying from its processors. This architecture, it predates the galactic calendar. This cannot be real. Jace finally turns toward the dome, eyes reflecting the giant shadow. It's real, he says softly. The Iron Horizon, the first human world fortress, built before we joined the galaxy, hidden for 500 years. Gasps ripple like a chain explosion. That thing is older than our empires. How did you hide it? How did no one detect it? How did humans keep this secret? Jace answers with calm truth. Because humanity doesn't show its sharpest knife unless it must. The fortress rotates, revealing enormous scars across its hull, ancient wounds from wars the modern galaxy has never heard about. And every alien feels it. This machine is not made for pride. It is made for survival, for last stands, for final wars. The Varkan warlord's voice shakes. This thing is your Cinderfall weapon? Jace shakes his head gently. No, Cinderfall is the judgment. The Iron Horizon is the hand that delivers it. The hall erupts in horrified whispers. A multi-limbed commander stares in disbelief. That fortress, it outmasses half our fleets. A heroine leader sobs. It could crush our capitals. A crystal envoy panics. Its shields alone could withstand a supernova. Jace cuts through their panic with a single line. The Iron Horizon is not here to destroy you. It is here to show you what humanity becomes when peace is taken. The council falls utterly silent. But the fortress outside is not alone. The Iron Horizon emits a low-frequency hum. A deep, ancient sound, and suddenly, smaller shadows uncloak around it. Not ships, not fighters, guardians, sentinel units the size of mountains. A dozen, then 24, then more. Shapes with wings of light, shapes forged of black alloy, shapes that once defended Earth in an age before politics and treaties. The cybernetic envoy collapses into its chair. This is impossible. No species has this technology. Jace turns to him. Humanity created these before it knew you existed. The shock is absolute. One alien leader chokes out. Why? Why keep such power hidden? Jace's answer is soft, painful. Because we hoped we'd never need it again. Outside, the Iron Horizon shifts its position slightly, and every sensor in the galaxy overloads. Energy readings spike into the unimaginable. Space-time around it bends. The dome's surface vibrates. A desert species cries out, "It's charging weapons!" Jace shakes his head. No. It's stabilizing. It only fires if I order it. And I won't. Unless I must. But even his reassurance cannot calm the room. Not when the fortress emits a faint beam, not an attack, but a scan. The beam sweeps across the council world. Through every building, every bunker, every ship docked in orbit. The scan ends. A hologram appears over Jace's wristband, lists of weapon factories, warship bays, plasma vaults, antimatter reactors. All enemy-owned. Jace lifts his head slowly. The Iron Horizon now knows where every weapon in your empires is located. A ripple of terror collapses an entire row of council members. Someone screams, "Human! You have already declared war." Jace closes his eyes briefly. Not in anger, but in sadness. No. You declared war when you crushed our treaty. He opens them again. When you stole our people. When you burned our colonies. When you demanded Earth kneel. His voice darkens, slow and final. The Iron Horizon is here to end your ability to hurt us again. Outside, the fortress's golden veins brighten, as if responding to his words. A terrified ambassador cries, "What will it do?" Jace's answer chills the room. "It will take your weapons, take your fleets, take your war machines, and leave your worlds unharmed." Another alien whispers through shaking lips, That is not mercy." Jace looks at him with a tired, heavy gaze. It's restraint. The council chair's feathers shake. "Commander Roran, can humanity truly control something this powerful?" Jace sighs softly, the sigh of a man who carries the weight of his species. "We can. But we hoped we would never need to again." The Iron Horizon turns slightly toward the nearest stargate, its engines releasing a soft rumble that vibrates through the bones of every creature watching. Jace lifts his hand. The fortress immediately stops moving. The entire hall freezes. Every species watches the human's raised hand. Shocked, terrified, humbled. This giant, this weapon, this titan of forgotten wars, listens to one human alone. Jace looks around the hall, his voice steady. "This is humanity's true power. This is what we locked away. This is what you forced us to bring back." The Iron Horizon's core pulses, a slow, deep heartbeat of golden fire, and every alien finally understands. This is no longer a war. This is humanity deciding the future of the galaxy. The Iron Horizon hangs above the council planet like a silent mountain suspended in space. No flames, no threats, no weapons pointed, yet its presence alone crushes every heart in the hall. The galaxy's strongest species, warriors, conquerors, empires older than human civilization, can feel their pride cracking under the weight of something far greater. For the first time in centuries, aliens fear extinction not from a monster, but from a species they once called weak. The council chamber trembles not from weapons, but from the sound of truth settling into every corner. Commander Jace Roran doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't threaten. He simply watches the Iron Horizon's golden veins pulse slowly, like the heartbeat of a sleeping titan waiting for one command. And then the next transmission arrives. A galaxy-wide alert. Red, urgent, panicked. Holograms burst to life around the hall, showing system after system, enemy ones, weapons melting, fleets collapsing, fortresses turning into drifting ash. Not explosions, not battles, not deaths, just silence. A Revik commander gasps. "That's our main shipyard." "Why is it crumbling?" A heroine war priest clutches his chest. "Our holy defense ring. It is dissolving." A Varkan captain drops to his knees. "Those are our dreadnoughts. They were built for centuries. All gone." A soft, gray dust floats where entire armadas once stood proud. Cinderfall protocol. Not killing life, only killing war. Quiet, clean erasure. The room erupts into panic. "You're destroying our futures. You're erasing our power. You're breaking our worlds. You're taking our honor. You're leaving us defenseless." Jace turns slowly, his eyes meeting each one of them. Not with pride, not with cruelty, but with a deep human sadness. "You attacked Earth," he says. "You attacked our children, our people, our homes." A silence falls so heavy that even the air seems afraid to move. Jace steps forward, voice low and controlled. "You wanted humans weak. You wanted humans cornered. You wanted humans silent." His gaze hardens. "You should not have wanted humans angry." A reptilian general slams the ground with his claws. "Is this your revenge?" Jace stops walking. The entire room leans toward him. His answer is soft, almost gentle. "No. Revenge would be killing your civilians." The hall freezes. "This?" He gestures toward the holograms of falling war factories and dissolving shipyards. "Is restraint." A shiver runs through the entire chamber. They realize now that humanity is not wiping out worlds, not burning cities, not killing innocents. They are dismantling war itself. They are ending empires without ending lives. But to an empire built on blood and conquest, losing weapons feels worse than losing life. A desert species leader breaks down. "We cannot survive without our fleets, our borders, our armies." Jace cuts him off with a quiet firmness. "You survived before you had them. You will survive again. But now, you will not use them to destroy others." The Varkan warlord, once the proud terror of half the galaxy, now looks like a broken statue. His voice cracks, unfamiliar with fear. "You intend to strip us of everything that makes us powerful?" Jace tilts his head slightly. "No. I'm stripping everything that makes you dangerous." Another hologram flashes, this time a Varkan core world. Their capital. Their pride. A fortress so strong even supernovas couldn't crack it. And now, Cinderfall's wave touches its surface. A soft pulse. A silent shimmer. Then every weapon on the planet turns into fine dust. War vaults, cannon towers, armor factories, orbital guns. All dissolving into harmless gray snow falling through the wind. The civilians below look up in confusion. Children hold out their hands as the dust lands softly like ash from an old fire. They laugh. They play. They are safe. The warlords watching from the council hall do not laugh. They collapse into their seats, their pride shattered, their dominance erased. Jace watches the scene quietly, his eyes softening just a little. "This is what humanity does," he says. "We protect life, even when you gave us no reason to." A three-eyed diplomat whispers, voice trembling. "You are leaving us alive, but without war, what will we become?" Jace turns to him. "You will become better." The words strike like truth itself. But the greatest shock comes when the next hologram activates. A Revik world, the birthplace of their armies, the center of their training. Cinderfall pulses. Weapons disappear. Armored suits melt. War temples collapse gently, leaving civilians untouched. A Revik elder cries into his claws. "This is the end of us." Jace softens. "No. This is the beginning of who you should have been." The room goes silent. All at once, the empires realize they are witnessing something not seen in millions of years. A power strong enough to end war without ending life. The Iron Horizon's golden lights pulse again. Calm, controlled, unwavering. Every species in the hall feels it. Their era of power is ending. Their era of survival begins. One alien whispers the truth the others are afraid to admit. Humanity is cleansing us. Jace does not deny it. He simply says, "I'm removing your weapons, not your worlds." Another hologram appears. Another planet saved but disarmed. Another fleet erased but civilians untouched. Another empire losing its ability to wage war. And the galaxy finally understands the new order. Humans are not conquerors. Humans are not invaders. Humans are the wall between peace and chaos. Today, that wall decided to move. Jace steps back to his original position, breathing steady, voice soft. "This is not your fall. Unless you choose it. Surrender war. Keep peace." Live. Outside, the Iron Horizon lowers its weapons slightly. Still massive, still terrifying, but no longer aimed at a final symbol of mercy. The council hall finally realizes. The galaxy is not ending. War is ending, and humanity, once mocked, once underestimated, is the one ending it. The council chamber feels like the center of a dying storm, quiet now, but carrying the weight of everything that was shattered. Every hologram shows the same truth. Enemy worlds preserved but disarmed, fleets erased but civilians unharmed, empires stripped of war but left alive. The galaxy is in shock, not from destruction, but from the precision of humanity's justice. And still, outside the dome, the iron horizon hangs in silence, like a god carved into the darkness of space, watching. Commander Jace Roran stands alone, his back straight, his eyes heavy with the burden he carries. The echoes of fear, disbelief, and grief swirl around him, but he doesn't flinch. He feels all of it. Every shattered empire, every broken pride, every frightened whisper. He did not want this. He did not choose this. But he accepted it when the galaxy gave him no choice. A trembling envoy finally speaks. Human, is this the end? Jace lifts his head. No, this is the warning. The words fall like iron. The council chair rises shakily from its throne. Feathers dim, voice cracked. Commander Roran, what warning? Jace steps forward, not in aggression but in finality. His voice is soft, but it carries the weight of the iron horizon behind it. If you ever raise your weapons toward Earth again, I won't stop Cinderfall's final stage. Silence snaps through the chamber. No one breathes. No one asks what the final stage is. They can all feel it hanging in the air like a sword resting against the galaxy's throat. The Varkan warlord, once the loudest in the room, now looks smaller than he ever imagined possible. His voice barely escapes his mouth. There's the final stage. What does it do? Jace turns to him slowly, eyes colder than starlight. You don't want to know. That answer, that tone, that truth, breaks whatever pride the warlord still had left. He lowers his head, not in respect, but in fear. The galaxy's most feared warrior bows without being asked. Dozens of species watch in silence as the mighty warlord submits to a calm human with empty hands. A young alien diplomat whispers, terrified, What have humans become? Jace lowers his gaze. Nothing new. This is what we have always been. You just never pushed us far enough to see it. The realization rips through the room. Humans didn't grow stronger overnight. Humans didn't suddenly master new weapons. Humans didn't evolve into monsters. They simply stopped holding back. The council chair clears its throat, forcing itself to speak. What happens now, Commander Roran? Jace takes a small breath, gathering himself like a man delivering a sentence he wishes he never had to give. Now you rebuild. Without war, without conquest, without hatred. He scans the entire hall. Every trembling leader, every broken general, every frightened diplomat. You will keep your worlds, he continues. You will keep your homes. You will keep your species. A pause, a cold wind, a harsh truth. But you will never again have the power to threaten humanity. No one argues. No one dares. The holograms shift, showing peaceful civilians, children laughing under soft gray ash, worlds breathing again without the weight of military empires. Jace softens just a little. This is your second chance. Don't waste it. A crystal envoy breaks into quiet sobs. A cybernetic commander powers down his weapons entirely. A desert species lowers its head, whispering ancient prayers of surrender. For the first time in the galaxy's long and violent history, they choose peace not out of morality, but out of fear of what they awakened. Jace turns his back to the hall and begins walking toward the exit. Instantly, every alien rises from their seats as if pulled by gravity. Not because they are ordered, not because they respect humanity, but because something deep in their instincts tells them, when a human like him walks away, you stand. At the chamber doors, Jace pauses. He places one small black data chip on the central table. The sound of it touching the metal echoes like a falling star. He speaks without turning around. This contains Cinderfall's command structure. If you want peace, follow it. If you want war, He looks over his shoulder, just enough for them to meet his eyes. Then pray your worlds burn quickly. The room goes hollow with silence. A silence that feels like judgment. A silence that feels like truth. A silence that feels like the weight of every future choice they will make. Jace steps through the doors. The chamber dims. Outside, the iron horizon shifts gently in acknowledgement, as if bowing to its commander's resolve. The council stares at the data chip, at each other, at their holograms of dust and broken fleets, and they finally understand one crushing reality. They survive only because humanity allows them to survive. As the doors close behind Jace, a final whisper spreads across the chamber. A truth so sharp it cuts through every heart. Do not provoke Earth again, for if they ever do, the galaxy knows exactly what comes next. Cinders. Only cinders. Humanity leaves the hall. The galaxy kneels in silence. And the iron horizon turns, ready to return home.